Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I've made this video just so I can show you the differences between the RB200 and the RB2X. They are the same car but with a lot of differences. The RB2X is essentially an evolution of the RB200. It's changes that I've made to the car that I wanted to do some of them right at the start, and then some of them ideas that came along the way. So this first clip is I just moved into the new garage after being at Jonathan's, and we'd just finished our first show, and so you know, it's the first time that the car's really fully completed. So I'm just going around and showing some of the details of the car, which is in a previous video, but I just thought I'd put this in there. The next clip you're going to see is me doing a walk around of the RB2X, and it'll explain why it's called the X and everything as well. So yeah, I just thought that, like, there's been 6 months since I started converting an RB200 to an RB2X, so I just wanted to get it all together and show you what the differences are, because some of them are subtle, and how we got from the RB200 to the RB2X. So we've had a look around the original RB200. Now I'm going to show you around this one, which isn't finished, but it's close to being ready for taking mould now. So it's you know, we can see all the changes that I've made to it. So we'll start at the front. I just want to show you what the difference is between the original RB200 and this one, which I'm calling the RB2X. Just point out the differences, and then the rest of this video I'll show you how I did all this. The front area of the bumpers still pretty much the same. It starts to change when we get around to the sides. There was a swage line running down here that was inset that I've removed. Obviously we've put the wider arches on and blended all that in, which goes into the bumper as well. But pretty much everything else on the bonnet's the same. The arch obviously comes down into the side skirt. I've changed the bottom lip on the side skirt as well, so the side skirts are wider back and front. I changed the shape of the door because I'm trying to pull this sort of like that hexagon section of a hexagon shape there. I'm trying to bring that into other elements of the car as well, similar in the front bumper. And so I changed the shape of the door here, so the door did go straight down to there and across, and I've removed the corner of the door and the front corner down there to give it a little bit more of that hexagon shape. Then into the quarter panel, the shut line used to come straight across there. Now it comes down there heading towards the centre of the wheel. Obviously we've got the wider arch on the quarters as well. There was the spoiler had like a swage line running along there, which made it look like a separate piece, and it broke up the spoiler from the quarter panel. But with this one, I just wanted to smooth things out and get everything looking a lot, the lines flowing a lot more. So I've removed that line there and blended that into the quarter panel. I've actually took some meat off this bit here as well, because it came out and then back in again. So I've now flattened that off, so it's more of a smoother transition into the arch, so everything just flows into each section. Round here as well, I took that swage line out. This recess here on the original RB200 is a lot deeper. I've made that a lot more subtle now. It's nowhere near as deep, and I did something similar in here. Obviously I've changed the upper air vent and these two side vents, basically bringing them together. Instead of these pods being separate pods, I used to call them ears. I don't feel they look like ears now. So now it's a much more integrated piece that just flows over there and then around nicely into the little ducktail that's got a tiny little ducktail that's got on the back of there, which was there anyway, but didn't flow in like that because again it was a separate pod, and then the middle bit was separate from that. This has created like a really, it kind of looks like a falcon, you know, like just the shape of that side profile. But also in here as well, we've got a nice flowing line now into the middle vent, which more mimics the shape of the side vent. So the more matching, rather than having like a round ear shaped pod on the top there. Tempted to remove the filler cap on this one. I think it kind of spoils the lines. Moving around into the back, pretty much the same from the rear view. Like I say, it's just brought together as one instead of 3 separate pieces. And then onto the back panel. Now, in the video, you're going to see, you don't actually see us make the back panel, but you do see us start it. But that was basically, the original car was vertical in here because of the active aero section that we were going to put in the middle, which I've not done yet. But aesthetically by itself, I think that this looks a lot better. And again, it brings in that hexagon section of hexagon shape there. I've done the same with the number plate reveal. Also, the lights are now totally flush mount instead of inset. The original Ford lights, obviously, they're set into the panel. The external's pretty flush, but it's a totally different setup as far as mounting your lights go. So these surface mount lights, and then obviously it's changed the shape of these vents by creating that cut there, which also gives you better rear view vision out the back as well. The bottom vents mimicking the top vents, and this is partly why I'm calling it the X, RB2X, because it's got an X shape to the back of it now, which I really like. And obviously recreated that hexagon shape again in the lower part of the rear clam. A lot of work went into the back there. It's still got the little ducktail that we put on the other one, but it's like I said, those sections there, fair change it. And then back around this side, obviously if I remove the fuel cap from the other side, because you would access the fuel cap by lifting the rear clam, because the filler is in behind the fuel cap. So that's what that side would look like if I do remove the fuel cap. Don't know, what's your thoughts on that one? And then back round to the front, still making a few little alterations here and there. The side repeaters are now in the bonnet rather than the side skirt, just because I didn't really have enough room to put them in the side skirt where they were, so I've moved them up to the bonnet. And these arches are lower down as well, so it removes the large arch clearance that we had obviously on the original RB200. It was very similar. It was never a replica, but it was very similar to the RS200, which it's modelled after. But this is much more of a street car, much more of a wider car as well. It turns out we were comparing some measurements to a Ferrari F40, and at the back end this is 240 mil, nearly quarter of a metre wider than a Ferrari F40, which absolutely blows my mind. I don't know how I ended up getting it that wide, but that's how wide it is. So yeah, a lot of subtle changes, mainly to smoothen everything out. Oh yeah, we took the swage line that ran from this front corner into the front of the skirt there, and then it ran from there right the way through the door, like a 10 mil wide deep recess all the way from the back. And it also was in the side skirt, separating the clam from the side skirt as well, which yeah, I just felt that like smoothing the doors out gave it a much more modern look, and again pulled it away from the original RS200. So, because I'm not trying to make a replica, there's lots of replicas out there, and you know, this is never going to be a replica. Underneath here is a Toyota MR2, and that's nothing against the MR2, but it's never going to have a Ford engine in it. It's never going to have a space frame chassis. It's never going to be an RS200. So I didn't want to make an RS200 replica, and the further I get away from the RS200, the happier I am with it, really. And that's just my personal taste. Another thing that I did was, there's a crest that runs along here all the way into there. It's still there, but it's not sharp anymore. I've took the top of it off and shaped it, rounded it, so it's again a lot softer shape. So there's like, you know, that's quite a subtle difference, but it really helps add to the whole shape of the car, making it a lot smoother. I think a lot more modern looking as well. So the LED lights that go in the front here, another change that I've made to this, which will be part of the moulds, is now it incorporates the headlight brackets. Still not finished around there, but now they won't have to be after, you know, retrofitted to the bonnet before you put your lights in. The mounts are already there. Lots of changes, some big, some small, some subtle, some quite aggressive. Some you might notice, some you might not. So I wanted to point them out to you and show you the difference between the two cars before we go into the full video of how I got from the RB200 to the what I now call the RB2X. Again, the RB2X is pulling away from that RS200 name, so just trying to give it its own individual identity. Make a car that's like more for me, rather than trying to cater to people who might have, you know, been a RS200 fan and, you know, wanted something like an RS200 that they could use as a daily driver, and it's a lot more affordable than any of the replicas, and certainly a lot more affordable than an original car. This car is certainly more me. It's more how I want it. I've built this car for me, not for Group B rally car fans. You know, I've made it how I would want it. I absolutely love these arches. The way that front arch sticks out from the door there, it's just so chunky. So looking forward to getting this car finished, but the weather's not great at the minute, and it's not ideal weather for taking moulds. So probably gonna wait until the weather gets a bit better, unless I'll lash out and buy a substantial heater that will be able to control me temperature environment a little bit more. So anyway, those are the closer details of this car, and now we're going to jump into the video of how I got from the RB200 to the RB2X. So I hope you enjoy the video. I've been thinking about this, and for a long time I've been thinking about it, so I thought, sod it, I need to have a bit of an experiment to see what the crack is. Now, all these comments about the wheel arches being too big, not so much on YouTube but on social media. I agree. The gap is big, and want to try and rectify that problem. I need to visualize it. I've drawn it, but I need to visualize it. And I've tried these arches on. These are just like universal plastic arches, but we've got a curve coming out that way, and then we've got a curve that way. So you would have like a curve and to a peak, and then down to another peak. That's going to look stupid. It needs to come out and down like that, but I need to remove some of this, and then what we'll do is we'll sit these on underneath where I want them to be, and then I can build up around it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a mould of them, make some fiberglass versions of those, but just for now I'm just having a bit try on. This was to help visualize what it might look like if it didn't have the roof pod and it didn't have the same back window, and we actually like done a convertible version of it. So I was just playing with that. That's not what we're dealing with here. I just want to see what this might look like. So bar messing on with the bumper, that's a pretty damn good start. Like I say, it gives us the radius of where the arch needs to be, and gives us plenty of points where I can connect and then trim this back to the point that I can bring it down like that without it having too much of a crest. So I'm going to use this as the mould, like a backing for the mould. Some silver tape around it so fiberglass releases off the
be better if I drilled some holes really. So I'm fixing it down to this to stop it moving. And that one, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, so we do those 2 instead of that one. Put a bit more tape around the outside. And I'll have to create a fence on this side as well. Glue that into place. Might have to take it off to do that actually. That just gives us something stable to work on to take a mould of that. I made that wheel arch over there based off one of these plastic ones, but these go in like that, they're concaved. I wanted it to have a bubble shape, so I built that up, I built that edge up, and then I screwed it to there, built that edge up with foam, tape, then fiberglass over that, then filler, till I got to that shape there. Just gave us a nice round with a, you know, a lip and edges to work to. And then I made a mould of that, and now I'm on my 4th part out of the mould. I started off with white, and then I realised I was running out of white, so I've got loads of black, so I put some black in it, made a grey, and then I thought I've got loads of red, so because the mould's black, you see, so you know, just a contrasting colour to the mould sort of thing. Yeah, let's see what you think about this. I've got a lot to explain here, so I put the coloured ones on this side. I'd cut the arches of the kit on this side, I cut them back. I cut the lip off the front and I cut the lip off the back. It's cut a bit much, I think, but there's a lot to sort out. They don't fit as such. There's going to be some cutting, mainly of the arch to bring it closer in. Obviously, height-wise, I want to piss about with them a little bit, and on bits like this, I need to work out a section where it comes into the bumper. Obviously it's going to come down there, which flows quite well with that line. It's all fitting like really nicely. Obviously I'd put a cut through there, that blends into there that way, that's blending in that way, and then coming down. That's coming almost straight across and then down. Like I said, these need to go in further. I've got to cut all this back so that I don't want it this wide, which I'll explain. Although I love it this wide, I can't have it this wide. Same again, it's fitting nice there, and I need to work out possibly like a whole trim across the bottom of the side skirt and into the back. The blend there is going to go like that, cut line through there again, and when you get to here, this shape here, there's a little bulge there, in, out, and then it went back down slightly, but this is going to fill that, so you won't have a high there. It's just going to go from there round and up into there, and then you see there it's all sitting quite nice. In chopping stuff now, you'll also notice this has got no top on it. This is the part that I made the mould of, that you know, the plug that the original piece that I made the mould from, and I just chucked it out the back after that because it was all, you know, there was mould damage there, paint ripped off. It was a mess. But I ended up cutting it up to try it on the back of Chucky's pickup truck, and essentially, if we cut the back of Chucky's pickup truck off up to the wheels, this will go on and sit quite well on it, amazingly. So yeah, but I cut the top off anyway, just to, for ease of fitting. And also Paul was wondering what one would look like as a convertible, you know, without the lifting clam and that. So that was the other reason I've done that and cut the whole top off. I think I'd already had it off for Chucky's, but anyway, sat it on to have a look, because that roof is essentially the same shape as the convertible roof bar, the little buttresses here and slightly bigger. But so it gives you an idea what it would look like as a convertible, which when you get a stand back shot of it looks quite weird. But I love these arches. Other stuff, this. Now, when I first did it, although I was messing with it, I was trying to keep the close DNA of the RS200. And now that, like, you know, now that I'm messing with it, which it's just stage 2 in it. These were things that I've played with, I've drawn, I've messed about with on the iPad and thought about loads, but didn't really have time to do any of it at Jonathan's because I was proper getting in his way, you know, so I needed to get out there as soon as possible. I did say about, like, doing the arches and stuff, and Jonathan says that if you keep on changing stuff, you're never going to get out of here. So so this is stuff that I'd drawn a long time ago, making a gap there for a big diffuser. And although the active aero thing was a good compromise and similar in shape to the RS200, I did consider doing this, which didn't work well for the active aero because of the angle of it. Yeah, I really like this because it gives you, imagine when that's all white and there black, it gives you this X shape, big diffuser coming out the bottom that'll be able to tunnel it through the subframe. So yeah, it looked cool. So another thing with these arches, I'm going to put them on as low as possible so that obviously this is on coilovers and it's lowered to the point that it's definitely going to suffer from a bit of bump steer. The suspension geometry is all messed up because you can see the lower control arms there are actually going up the way. They should be sitting level. The car needs lifted up a little bit or a different subframe, but I'm looking to see if we can come up with another solution. If I put the arches on lower, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to lift the car up to essentially what would be about a 40mm drop, because you can get 40mm lowering springs, you know, for the standard suspension. So set it up so it's would be around a 40mm drop, and then put the arches on to fit the wheels at that height, because that means that you don't have to put coilovers on them if you don't want to. And you know, that's a big saving when you're messing on. It's also a better option for ride quality, because getting comfy coilovers do not have a comfort setting. So a 40mm drop is not offensive, it's not like too harsh on the car. So if we can have the kit as low as we can and still fill the arches at a 40mm drop, that would be ideal. Saves people money, gives it a better ride quality. You can still put coilovers on if you want. So looking at this V cutout, it's kind of, I've been trying to add in this shape into the car. I've got like a drawing where I've done a sunscreen that comes along like that. So just essentially just a white bit in the middle. So it like continues the roof down and again mimics that shape. I did it with the clam at the vent at the top. I created that shape in the back of the top vent as well. So this is sort of mimicking that. I'm trying to pull that shape, and again at the bottom as well. That's not how I'm going to do it. I'm going to widen that out a little bit. It needs to come out to that bit there. But this is just to visualize it, you know what I mean? So these are the old side skirts that I then rejigged for making the new molds. I'm gonna use these, I think, for now anyway, just for getting things on and lined up. I'm probably gonna use these, although I do want to have another set. But because these are gonna get cut up and glassed and whatnot, the other set's a good set, so I don't see any point in cutting up a decent set. That's a lot closer now, and then these are just easier blends. Obviously I've got to come around the top outside edge for that, all the way in there. I'll trim that back, but that's a much easier blend going into there than down there, coming down there. So obviously, because I've got to be over the top there, so it's either over the top or underneath. I can't really do both, you know. Some would be better underneath, some would be better on top. I'm chopping the top off these. I'm changing the shape of them to the hexagon-y shape that I'm trying to exaggerate in the back of the roof, in the rear spoiler area, again down at the bottom, in the bumper, in the bonnet. Yeah, you see where I'm getting at. Right, I'm going to put you on tripod. I want it to come straight out to there and then down. This bit will still be in here, but there'll be a bit comes from there to there, so that continues round to there, down there and there, rather than the step in it. Obviously I need to put quite a bit of strength back into this because it's a major point on the clam. You've got all the weight of the back here and everything underneath and then up to there, and then you've got this narrow point here. So this narrow point here, that's this side and that side, is possibly the weakest point. So I strengthen it up a little bit in there. And then obviously the bracket goes in there. So this whole area is under quite a lot of pressure, especially like when the clam's lifted up. So it does need to be quite strong. So I need to keep this section in here, and putting more in here will, well, certainly put the strength back into it anyway, so it won't make it any weaker. Same here, obviously that's gonna come out to a crest about here. Still need to take this down a little bit. Didn't want to cut too much off first cut. Come around into there, and then so this top flat bit will come to there, about 50 mil further out, and then taper into that section there, and then this flatter bit here will come round and do that. I haven't really drawn much of this. I have actually drawn a little bit, but it's hard to visualize this profile. That bit's easy, it's a line, but this is more, and I can't do CAD. If I could do CAD, I'd be able to visualize it a lot easier. Damn! Never mind. So there's a bit more chopping to do yet. Looks kind of weird. The line that I drew, I didn't think it would look like that from the, wonder if this one's the same. Yeah, so a bit more chopping to do. I'll put a flat panel on there, probably just with the plastic signboard stuff. Stick it in the back and then fiberglass over the top of it, and then it'll be strong again. Right, it's about 7:30. Been messing on. Jonathan's here as well. I'll show you where I've got to. You got to see past the different colours and the tape and everything. So that's the shape I've got the vent into. Obviously this is just rough, but matches up with that vent a lot better and creates similar lines and angles. And then obviously the arch, the whole lot together, looking through the back over the spoiler. There's loads to look at. The whole back's just taped on at the minute because it hasn't got a bracket, so literally the tape is the only thing that's holding it on. This side's nowhere near as close to being sort of the shape as this side is, but bringing that line back there, then down. I did look at that sort of cut there, but I'd rather have that flat. This edge needs tucking a little bit, and then that shape flowing round into there. I think I need to take a bit off down here as well. I probably have to take a little bit right the way off that lip. So it's the first time I've seen the back sat on the car at the height and everything. You can see underneath what's going on. The subframe's there. Jonathan's been putting the new engine mounts and stuff in. So that, I knew that was going to sit high. It does look high. The whole thing looks a bit weird at the minute. I don't know what it is. Obviously there's going to be a diffuser in there which will change it up a little bit. It's just made it look quite snubby, but it was always gonna because I was taking a huge section out of it, and it already had a stumpy bum anyway, didn't it? That's where I'm at. It's looking good. Just needs the diffuser in there to give it more bulk. It's quite a cavity, so once that's in there, I did think that I was going to be able to use that bit in the subframe, but I didn't realise the engine mounting goes there. I'd been looking at that gap and thinking, oh, that'd be great, and then I can bring that out in a, you know, a fluted way and down into that there, but it'll still look something a bit like that. Maybe just have like 2 humps in it to get around the engine mounting. The fiberglass that arch on. The wheels still need spaced out, so. And I thought I'd get the camera out and film something because I'm going to put a red one on this side. So just a quick explain of what I'm doing here. I've already cut this arch back so that it sits there, level. Let's see how it kind of fits around there. And I've got this bit of wood on the wheel which spaces it out, and it's 25 mil, so I'm going to bring the front out 25 mil to that point, wider than it already is as far as the wheels are concerned, and the arch as well. So now I've got all that positioned, it's sitting on all right, sitting nice and level and straight. I'm now going to take that off. I'm going to grind all this up and there so that I can fiberglass over the top of it. I'll just tape it into position, fiberglass over the top of some of the tape, and then once that's done, I can then also fiberglass it from the back. I'll have to put my cuts in because obviously now the bonnet is joined with the side skirt and the bumper, so I'll have to create a cut line along here so that they're separated again. Yeah, whenever I do it, I've got all of that to remove in there. The same, the side skirt there, and there's a little bit of bonnet up. Let's see if we can get up there. Yeah, there you go, you can see it there. So that lip there needs to come off. It's not a lot of it. It's probably worth doing the inside because I want it strong for being able to work the outside. So one bit on at the top, it's all sitting on. A little bit of a gap to bridge over down there, but that's not a problem. I'll get some glass on that. So I've roughed up the surface. I'm just painting this on now just to make sure that the resin's got a good surface contact right the way around. Right guys, I'll show you what I'm up to. I've not been recording much as usual. Spin you around. Okay, I think you've seen some tape action last time. I'm now onto this side. That side's in filler. Just first skim of filler. So what I've done, we've got the arches on, all the arches are on, but I'm going to adjust this one. I'm going to take this one off and move it slightly. Process here, what I did on that side was I got this shaped up, trimmed all the straggy ends and stuff, got it a reasonably smooth layer of tape, and then I fiberglassed over the top of that. Then when that was hard, I then took that off, took the tape off, put the fiberglass part back on, which then created that shape there, which I was then able to fiberglass onto the clam. Got all sorts going on really. Pleased with the arches, they look ace. The other one's just sitting a little bit forward and a tiny bit out at the top, so I'm just going to move it back a few mil. And I made a mistake really. Like what I did was I didn't have the clam on because I didn't have the back bracket. So now I've got the back bracket on, that holds the back up and the clam's able to sit in place properly. I've actually bolted it into place as well, so it's not going anywhere. It's fixed. Everything's stuck together at the minute, so it's got tech screws going through it to actually make sure it stays in place. But I put this wheel arch on first and then I done that one, and I should have brought this one in a little bit. It looks like it's sitting a tiny bit wide. I mean, like literally I'm just going to take that slither out of it there, that little gap there. I'm not taking much, but it's just a little bit. So that's what I'm on with. And that's how I got from there to there. Right, so I've masked around that now, and I've cut this arch off and stuck it back on, slightly further back and slightly further in. I'm going to get that glassed in now. So I've got the bottoms built in. I haven't, there's a bit of shaping to do at the bottom. Oh, me and my camera skills. Yeah, that one's kicked out a little bit. So these ones were as well, so I had to operate on them so I pretty much spent the whole day yesterday on this side, sanding and shaping. Still got like stuff to sort out obviously. But they're pretty close now for primer. Need to work out this bit at the bottom, how that's going to transition into that section there. And then this vent up here, pretty close with this now. Some lovely shapes going on, just flows. I've said it all along about if a blind person was to polish this car, it's a very kind of tactile experience, all these shapes. Taking that was vertical with like a little recess and then a swage line right the way down there. So I'm taking all that out, there's no interruption in there. I think the quarter panel might look quite plain because it hasn't got the light in it, and that's another reason why it needs a colour that's going to kick, because the pearl will pick up on the different shapes, it'll exaggerate the different shapes. Now that that's all one flowing line, everything is just flowing together. So yeah, that's where I got to yesterday. I might have a bit mess on with some paint today. Proper want to try one of them. Well, I can't try the wheel on, but I can sit it in the arch because obviously I need adapters and whatnot, but it's, you know, I need to work out what size adapters to order as well, so yeah, better get on anyway. I haven't had a chance to try the wheels on yet because I've just been getting this rubbed up, ready for the first coat of primer. This is just so I can see where I'm at. It's hard to tell with all the different colours and surfaces and textures and stuff like that, so getting an even coat of any colour on really does help. So I've got it pretty close. There's a couple of spots that are, this is me just filling in pinholes and stuff. There's pinholes everywhere. There's a couple of little spots that are a little bit maybe high in there. Just kind of catch it about there. Yeah, you can see it there. See the edges? There and there. This line here, there's a little bit of a bulge about there. And when I'm looking down this, can you see that there's a slight fat here as well, I think. There's a little bit there. See how that line's not giving an even reflection? It goes fat and then thin. So this is like where getting it all in one colour really helps, and you've got to fine tune. Because like when I've sanded off there, I've obviously sanded it off too much in one place, but I've also got filler up to here, so I've changed it all anyway. But when you're sanding your crests off, you can do that. You can, you know, when the seams, you know, when you're doing these seams that are from the mould, if you take too much off, you can actually change the shape of the line, you know. So the top's looking good. Still little bits and pieces to sort out in the corners and what have you. I think I might be taking that out for the vent actually. You can see the shapes now. That bottom line flowing into the underside. That face there blending away into there. And then that coming down there with the crest sort of blending in about that point there. And then obviously nice and smooth across the top. It exaggerates this as well. Need to take a little bit out of there. Gonna do most of that work when it's off. But it's all went in really nicely. The shape's lovely, just everything's flowing. When I do the cuts, I'm going to take it to the centre, so I'm going to go from probably the centre of the fuel cap. That's where it starts, down diagonally from about there, Don't know what I'm going to do about this step, whether that's going to be part of the cut, I don't know. And I'm going to have to draw it, but I don't know whether I'm going to do angled cuts on the back or whether I'm just going to do it straight. I think I'm going to do it straight right the way through. On the front, that's me filling in pinholes again. Not that I got them all or anything. Obviously still got a lot of edges to sort out, just the edge of the arches all to tidy up and that. Like I say, it's just to get just to the shapes, and I'm really happy with it. There's a little crest here that was in the other one as well. It's in the original. Creates a, you can see the highlight there, and then it cuts off there. It's like it needs to, it's just a little bit cresty to about, well, all the way there. I think I can get that out. I don't think it needs to be there. I've never thought it needs to be there. It gives it a weird reflection. Look at what I'm doing to the doors. I've decided to take the swage line out of the door. These are now bolted down and bonded. Once the bond's cured, I can take the bolts out and finish the other side and obviously start shaping up the front. I'm going to take this front edge off a little bit as well, just to help with the door closing so that the gap doesn't have to be as big. On the bonnet here, I'm removing, so this is the original arch and now that's the new arch, so I'm cutting that bit of arch off so it goes like that, so I can then grind that off, glass that so it's glassed from both sides, and then we'll end up with something that looks more like this, which is the inside of the rear clam. This is getting really close now, just at the stage of filling pinholes. It is all in a fresh coat of primer. That's its third coat of primer, I think. Can't remember, but it's absolutely lashed this time. There's still some pinholes and stuff to sort out. The hub adapters are now on with the old wheels, so you can't see right now because everything's unbolted and everything's off, but you can kind of tell there that the wheel is now out to the bumper. Oh, pretty damn close. That's just hanging there like. So this door's at a similar stage. It's packed out so that this meets the side skirt correctly. Made a few alterations to the roof here. I've changed the shape of that slightly, brought this back slightly to reduce a gap, and I've just got some filler underneath there to alter the shape of the platform slightly because I've got two washers under there. That hinge needed to lift up just a little bit. So I'm making some alterations there. Other than that, I mean, this is what I'm on at the minute in between that and the doors, but I want to get the doors cured now before I go any further with them really. So this will probably be me for the afternoon now, or the next couple of hours anyway, getting these inner arches sorted. So yeah, that's where we're at. I've got things a bit too close here. Right, quick update for you guys. At the garage, obviously, I've got a job in shortly at the tattoo studio, so I've just nipped through here to put this back together really. I primed the bonnet and the bumper last night. Yeah, so this is the first time it's been together, all one colour and kind of looking how it's supposed to look. Still got a lot of work to do with the shuts, the other side's even worse. Like I say, it's not bolted together or anything, it's just, well, there's some bolts in it, but it's just sort of sat together. I've got a bit of wood there wedging that side skirt out because it's setting in a little bit, so I can't shut the door properly. But that side skirt needs to move back anyway. Some tweaking with the bonnet and brackets to do, and a little bit of like this here, look, see that there? That should be in line with that, but just the way it's went on and the way it's sitting, it's not, so I'm going to make some adjustments so that meets that. I'll just bring that down a little bit to meet up. Something else is bugging us as well, like this line here. I'm gonna straighten this out a bit. That part of the arc I don't like. I just feel it sits up a bit, so I'm going to bring that from there to about there to take that little arc bit out. Both sides. Need to increase some gaps in places as well as reduce them in other places, but it's nice to see it all together, all one colour, and you know, it's at this point that you can start to see a finished car. So there is no mountings on here to fit that. So this is how I've done it. I got a bucket that I use for putting stuff in and sometimes using it for mixing larger batches of resin. I tipped it upside down like that. Got some fiberglass. Took a mould of it. Took that off. It happens to be the exact same size as the lamp. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a section out of this that's going to take those two and those two. That's going to go, the double one is going to go there and the single one's going to go there. These are getting very close to another coat of primer, which will potentially be the final coat of primer on these. These are getting close to primer, but it won't be final because I've still got the arches to work, I've got the bottoms to do, and I've got these faces to sort out, back and front, and I've got the return to do. Another job done. Obviously I've got my holes to drill and stuff, but big part of it done anyway. Alright, quick update before I go home. Doors are looking pretty good. 99%. Side skirts are primed. Looking good. But this now means that I can get the car back together and it mostly looking grey. These are at a stage before that. That's just the first coat of primer, first guide coat. I didn't want to rub this until I'd done this, because obviously working with it upside down like that damage it. Right, it's now the end of the day, 7 o'clock. I'm going to show you what I've been up to. Now then, doesn't look like too much from here, but you can see there, I've been filling corners to bring those out. Took off the extra meat that was there, a little bit more to go actually there. Fibre filled it, and the gap at the front was bigger than the gap at the back because that was just a cut. But that was set off the hinge and there was a little bit of a gap. So originally on the old car there was more of a gap. But because of this here, it needs to be a tight gap, so I'm continuing that gap all the way along. I can't have it getting wider. So I've just built that up in there, also brought it forward so it meets the bonnet on both sides. Still got that crest to knock off there, but man, have I been knocking crests off. I bet you didn't think I was going to go this far. So I've been building up the edge, getting that nice and tight, filled in that bottom bit there, and took this crest down here. I'm going through there, so I'm going to have to build up some layers of fiberglass on the other side to do that. I've hit this crest along here a lot more. Once it was all in grey primer, you can see it, you see, and this is part of the thing that I was on about. I've had to bring that down there to meet up with that. This was sitting slightly fat, but I'm going to bring the door out slightly as well. It's like rolling off slightly, so I'm going to fill the back edge of the door. It's all right there, but it's in there. I can't take the side skirt in there, so I'm going to have to bring the door out. Got it sitting nice and levelly, and now I had too much meat on there with filling all this. It was just too much. I need to put the clam positioners in, but once that's like that, that's all sitting now pretty nicely. So a little bit more work to do in that area, and like I say, I need to bring that out as well, so all of those faces are all meeting each other perfectly. Obviously there's a little tweak to do in there, nothing too much. Got that tucked back there now, and that's flattened off up there. Haven't done that bit yet. Right, you know, I was saying it's like a puzzle, working out what to do next. And so I've got that bit in the door check to sort out with the side skirt, the twist in it. Before I can even look at doing that, I need to secure the back corners, the back edges of the side skirts at the top and the underneath as well, and get everything bolted up into place properly, because they're still a little bit loose at the minute. So I've got to do that, but to do that I've got to make some brackets for the back, because now the way I was bracketing the back end, that's not there anymore on the back end of the side skirt. So I'm making some brackets with this angle, which I just make off a bit of angled metal, and it's the same stuff that I use for the headlights and stuff. It's the same stuff I use for the bottom of the doors, so it comes in really handy. Stick your fingers. So once I'm able to bracket that out, it's going to come to about, so you can see how all this is moving now. Can you see the bottom of the side skirt here just? So when I pull that out, it pushes it in there, right? So I need to, about there, there's a bracket there, you see. So I need to get that mount in position, which doesn't want to be where it's at, it wants to be about there. And then I need to pull that out, which is going to create this gap. But when I pull that out, the twist is here. This whole bit, what an ass. This whole bit needs to twist that way, like and it's purely from a pull that's happened when the resin's been going off and filler and whatnot, and it's pulled it with it. It's probably been out of angle and it's set it like that more than a pull, but it does have the ability to pull stuff. So this cut's going to end up right down there, definitely. There might be even another one here, and I don't know. When I pull this out to there, it's actually sitting back from where it was, or the clam's slightly forward, so I've got a little bit of adjustment to do there. Just need to line that up better, but I need to take, the clam's not all the way down either, so that could be what's causing that. I can feel it sitting on somewhere, and looking in, you can feel it here as well. It's like contact in there, and then when I push that in there, that lines up a lot better, but we've still got contact there. So I'm going to take it off the clam, because I think it's the clam, because we need to close this gap up. So it must be the clam that's causing the... Obviously I've altered all this, so I'm going to take that out in that area there, from about there to there. And that should let the clam sit down. So as well, what I've done down there, I've put 4, maybe 5 slits there. I put one there, but it wasn't doing anything. But those 4 or 5, when you're pulling this and then pushing that, this twists out the way. So it's just took the pressure off there. So it's, when I pull and push that, there's less force to do it. Now I want to cut it so that I can see whether it's moved or not, you know. But if I push on there now, it's not actually moving that much, you know. I'm guessing when I shut the door, it's still going to be awfully close. But it does shut better now as well, because it was clouting that. I should have maybe been more careful with that actually, because I'd chipped the door, but it was still very close though. This is a bit of a door panel that was just too thick. I've drawn a couple of brackets on. This is for the bottom of the side skirt. There is a mounting on the car in a perfect position, but I haven't had a look at the passenger side, but the driver's side's seized. Right, so see that there? That's got a captive, but it's snapped, and that would have been for holding the original side skirt on at the bottom. So I need to pull this out to about here. So that's going to go there, tech screw from underneath into this, and then a hole in there that's slotted, so I can adjust just that and support it there, obviously. 2 of them, 1 for each side. Final update for the evening. I'm going to heat this up and twist it. It just needs a little twist on it. I've got it sitting nice. I've had to take a load of filler off and get another screw in there, but I've got my brackets on down there, although that one's held on with a cable tie because there's a bolt in the hole, but nice and solid. It's pulled it in at the bottom, so that's now sitting nice and vertical. So is this one. That one is bolted, so they're solid, absolutely solid. So I've still got the front corners to bolt up on the bumper, but I need to clear out underneath there before I can do that. And now I can really start refining these gaps. The last thing I need to do is get my bonnet pins in. This is sitting down where it needs to be, but it actually needs to go up a fraction, about there. So I need to get my bonnet pins in and the bonnet. So I've got a bit of finishing off to do at the front end, but we're almost there with the gapping and final fit, or a good step along the way anyway. I said the other day that I was nearly done with the bodywork, and look at this. What I meant was I was nearly done with that stage of it. Everything's been primed again, and I'm just on the hunt for, can you see them? It's always bad to focus. Let me try and zoom in. Don't do too many things at once here. Right, so the camera doesn't have an autofocus feature, seemingly. You can see the holes. So every panel edges and surfaces like that where I've rubbed down to the fiberglass, because I actually took, once I refitted these, I took the whole front of this off because it had like a kick on it, so I took it off so that I could reduce the door gap down a bit. So everywhere where I've been down to fiberglass has got pinholes in it. There's not many pinholes in the bumper, but there is some areas. A little bit there, nothing too major. Again, just on the arches on the where I've went through on the top there. And I'm still refining the shape, so also going around here, can you see those shadows? I'm using two hands so I can't point, but you can see it, you can see those lines. Right, after most of the day sanding, I've got the bumpers ready, the doors are ready, the bonnet's ready for primer. Haven't touched the side skirts, haven't touched the clam, but these are all ready. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get some primer on these now, and they can sit and cure for as long as they like. I don't think I'll be in too much of a rush to finish them off. That gives us time to do the other bits and pieces. It took from 9 o'clock till 3 o'clock to about 9 o'clock till 3 o'clock to get those side skirts rubbed up. I've still got that repair to do there where I was doing me stress relief. I had a couple of bits on there that I had to sort out, but they're pretty much ready to go now. But yeah, and then the rest of the day I spent another 3 hours rubbing that, so I haven't quite got right round that yet, but still got bits around the vents to do, and that panel there, the back panel, and then like little bits like in the nooks and crannies to do, but I've got most of the surface area done. I've got work to do around these vents, but I need to reposition it to do that. So it's getting there, and hopefully I will have these in white primer. The doors are already in white primer, and I've got the roof to finish off. I've altered in here and whatnot, so I've got a bit to do there. Right, quick update. The car is now back together. Looking pretty good. There's a couple of tiny little bits and pieces that I need to sort out. When I say tiny, I've got like that sticking out a little bit, just need to get that in. Similar on there. Nothing major, just a bit of heat and bend it in. All this is looking pretty good. The shuts are looking good. Obviously this primer hasn't been blocked, but the shapes are there now. I can see a couple of tiny undulations in it that I'll get with the final blocking. Nothing major. Got the rear screen in just for visuals. Really happy with all the shapes now. The arches are lovely. Everything's lining up lovely. So today, those are to go in. So I've got me laser level, which isn't lined up there at the minute, but I've got a lot of measuring to do, a lot of measure 5 times and cut once. So I've measured and drawn and used me templates to get everything as lined up as possible. I've just put the laser back there just so I can see it needs reposition, but yes, I'm pretty sure I've got everything right. Looks right, measures right, so it must be right? I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit nervous about these cuts. I don't know why. The position of them is obviously absolutely crucial. Some 3mm holes to drill, and then I've got to cut this centre out. Now this is double skinned as well because it's still got the original panel on the inside where the light unit used to sit. I might have to cut that, I don't know. We shall see. One problem that I can see at the minute, it's not a massive one, but I think we can work around it. That sits nice and flat on there, but the panel starts to curve off there, and then obviously that accelerates. Now I had hoped to put them, I wanted them
right out at the edge, but it's rocking. You know, there's about maybe 4mm difference or something, so I've had to bring it in a little bit. Still looks all right. I think it's actually worked out almost better because they sit within the vent rather than offset from the vent. If I put it out there, it would actually been further out. So there's a slight rock on there, but nowhere near. It's about maybe a couple of mil. So I'm hoping it'll flex a bit. Gives you your mark there, top, bottom. So I was able to place that. Obviously, I got my line with the spirit level and the laser level, the backs level. Got my line off that, and then it was just a case of working out. But those were really, really handy. Comes in the box, you know. Okay, so this one has got a little bit more of a gap on that side than the inside. I think what I'll do is where in behind the surface, if I take off a little bit there, it'll be able to pull down a little bit more there, just to make it a bit more flatter and slightly angled rather than sitting on a slight curve, but we'll see. There we go. The number plate's not stuck on, it's just sat in place, but the lights are in and I'm happy. We do have this gap here to deal with, which you maybe can't see properly. You see it? There you go. I've been looking at a picture on my phone that I photoshopped, so that's got the diffuser and that in it as well. Now, just on the diffuser, I don't know whether I spoke about this, but I was hoping that bit, I wasn't hoping, I was expecting to be able to make that into a tunnel so that I could bring the, you know, the diffuser coming up from that. Then Jonathan went and put that gearbox mount on there. And I was like, what are you doing with that? And he says, oh, well, that's where the gearbox mount goes. Oh man, it's ruined my plans for the diffuser. So we've actually been talking today about whether it's going to be possible to make another custom mount and sit it on top of the subframe instead of underneath. I would much rather that. So, well, the diffuser will look a lot better for it. So I'm going to see if we can do that. But yeah, man, absolutely buzzing. So I've been sat here on my little chair, just looking at it, drinking a cup of coffee. Right, I've got something. It's getting dark outside, just got here, been tattooing all day, but I've been to pick something up. These. So, this is the solution for getting these wheels onto the car. The problem was the hubs are 4B100, the wheels are 5B120. It turns out that 4B100, which is that, won't go into, that's 5B120, the other side's 4B100, where it bolts to the car. We couldn't go 4B100 to 5B120 because the bolts hit each other. What we've ended up having to do is we've had a steel adapter made, which is 4B100 to 4B80, and then an aluminium adapter made, which is 4B80 to 5B120. So Rich at 105 Engineering said, don't put my name to it, I just have there, but like he says that's dodgy as out, man. I says, no, it's fine. I says, please make them. So he has, but he's taking no responsibility for anything that happens.
The back is perfect. The front is definitely a little bit too much. Taking a bit off the back of one of the hub adapters, like the steel, to reduce that down like 5mm at the front on the front ones, which is totally doable. That'll bring the wheel in a little bit. I think that'll be enough. But yeah, there's work to do. And it's work that I just couldn't work out what I needed to do until the wheels were in place, because I was just guessing. Like I say, if I'd had these at the start, when I had the wheels, then I could have built the arches around the wheel, but I wasn't able to do that. So I'm gonna have to trim the arches around the wheel, but I want to do as little trimming as possible. So the back is absolutely fine. Definitely need to do something about the front. But anyway, gives you thoughts. What do you think? The fact that I've got some bit work to do, I was expecting it. I was half expecting it all the way around on all 4 arches. So the fact that it's just the front ones, I'm pretty damn happy. Yeah, happy. Right, I'm gonna go and get Jonathan, get him to come and have a look, get his opinion, and you know, what should we do about this front end? And yeah, then I'm probably gonna sit here, maybe make a cuppa and just sit here and look at it for a while. I think I've earned it. So this is actually gonna be the last video on this car for a while. I'll explain in a minute, but first I'll show you what I've been doing. The headlight brackets, they've been causing us all sorts of nightmares, but I've worked it out. I've worked it out for the other bonnet and for this bonnet. So what I've done here is I've integrated, I've made the buckets deeper using the bit that I made for the chassis that I made for the back of the light to go into the other bonnet, and then I've filled that in. So this will now mould. So on these bonnets, on the wide arch bonnet, the headlight brackets will be part of the bonnet, so it makes it easier for everybody that way. Other than that, I've just been doing a few little tweaks really. There was a little kick on there that needed took off. Got the mirrors on. I did fit the door handles but took them off again for ease of opening the door. Fuel caps bolted up. Holes for the back windows done. Bolts are in, but they're not tightened up. There was a little bit there that was a little bit high, so I've knocked that off. And there was a slight alignment thing going on there, which I've now got lined up on both sides as well. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop working on this car for now, because it's now at the stage, bar a couple of little bits, it's ready to come to bits. I'll trim up the arches a little bit more before I do take it to bits, but it's pretty much ready to mould. It's winter time and things have been getting right cold, so the moulding process is not so easy when it's cold, and it's hard to get the building up to the right temperature. So what I'm going to do is, I've got a kit sat down at the other end of the garage that surprisingly nobody has bought yet. So what I'm going to do is, we're going to get the silver MR2 from over at Jonathan's and I'm going to build it. So there will be a fully built car coming up for sale. It'll be ready about end of January, I'd expect, something like that. So just getting a load of electrical work done in here as well, getting new lights in, because again, it's dark and this isn't really bright enough for working. So getting a load of lights done in there and new lights in the booth as well, because they were very much temporary. So I'm going to stop working on this. I'm going to get this down the far end of the garage, get the other MR2 around here, and then so the next videos are going to be a full build series from start to finish of the car, because that'll give us the tutorial video that I really need for people to be able to see how to do these things, because this is not the same car. What I've been doing with this doesn't really give you a good impression of how to build one at all. And the other videos have been very much make a bit, you know, do a bit, fit a bit, make another bit, take a mold of that bit. You know, nothing's been like a consistent build from start to finish. That's what I'm going to do. So if you want to see, obviously I'm calling this the RB2X. If you want to see the full build from start to finish of an RB200, then like and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. Yeah, we'll see you on the next video. Cheers guys, bye-bye.
Hi everyone, I just want to jump on and say thank you to everybody who's been watching my videos, liking, subscribing, sharing and commenting on the videos. I really appreciate it. You know, it helps support the channel and it helps me, you know, inspires us to do more. So I really appreciate it. Thank you. And if you want to jump on the website rb200.co.uk, you can either contact us directly if you've got any more questions, if you want to buy any merch, or if you want any more details about the car. It's all on there. So thanks very much for your support, and we'll see you in the next video.